Hi guys, it's Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Leatherman Sidekick, which is the tool you see here. It's kind of similar to the other one that got released along with it, which is the Leatherman Wingman, but I'm going to be taking a look at this one first. So, before getting started with the actual review, I want to mention something that I think is relevant, given that I mostly talk about the economic crisis and survival and preparedness from that point of view. Before the actual tool, I want to mention how intelligent Leatherman was regarding their business strategy. Okay, I think it was a great idea to come up with this tool that you see here. Why is that? Because I think Leatherman as a company, they understood the current situation, globally speaking, especially for the American people, and they saw that in spite of having an awesome tool such as the Charge Wave tool, this one is a Charge TTI, similar to a Wave as well. The Charge, a bit more expensive, the Wave a bit cheaper, but still tools that are in a 60, 70 buck range for the Wave, 90 for the Charge, bit more expensive for the Charge TTI. So these are great tools and are outstanding on their own merit, but they are expensive. Okay, this one is the one that I actually carry myself. I think it's an excellent tool. I think it has not been beaten yet, but we have to look at it from other people's perspective as well. Maybe someone doesn't have $100 today to spend on a tool, and they still want something similar to this. Yeah, but maybe for half the price, even lower. Well, that's exactly what the new Leatherman Sidekick here presents. Leatherman cut costs wherever they saw it possible, still not sacrificing the most valuable things the Charge and the Wave have. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Presentation, pretty standard. What they have is a couple extras. This I don't quite understand. Maybe they could have saved a bit more money and add some other feature, make something a little bit better. What we have here is a leather pouch, which I don't think is necessary because you already have a clip in the tool, something that wouldn't stand well to much use since it has, this leather material isn't that great. Has a bit of advertising, which never hurt anyone, which is okay, and a small manual with the tool's descriptions as well as other models from Leatherman as well. Yeah, we have the Sidekick, we have the Charge, we have the Crunch, some of the models of Leatherman. The manual goes for all of them, and it also includes this carabiner, which would go in your keyring, I suppose. It is okay, it's pretty solid, so if you're needing a good keychain ring or something like that, this might be it for you. It has a bit of a grabbing surface over here, so you have a bottle opener and you have this nut for use. Well, if you're talking about just one size, and even if at that it's not that great because you would have to be using it and not having much of obstacles around it, so as to use it. I don't know. I think I don't know how expensive this was for Leatherman. I would have preferred reducing costs in this and this, things that weren't, in my opinion, necessary if I'm buying a multi-tool, and improving some of the other things that could have been improved in spite of being an excellent tool, no matter. So let's take a look at it right away. What you get when you buy the Sidekick, the new Leatherman Sidekick? You get, first of all, a more compact tool than the Charge. It's not that huge of a difference, but it is slightly more compact, a bit more rounded. I think the design is excellent, all things considered. A bit more narrow as well. Guys, some people have this thing about weight, and for me it's not an issue, a bit more of weight. I carry this in my pocket every single day. I've been carrying it for a long time, as some of you guys know. I think it's an excellent tool, and some people consider it heavy. I don't consider it heavy. I carry it with the clip as you see here, and that's one of the things that Leatherman obviously thought was a good idea. So they included it right away in the Sidekick as well. You cannot remove it, unless you unscrew here, which isn't much of a big deal. If you want to get rid of the clip, you can. It's not as easy as in the Charge, where you just press the safety and it comes off. Here you actually have to use a screwdriver to get it off. Well, one of these hex screws that you see. I still wouldn't do that. I would use it with a clip as it is, as Leatherman intended to use it. It fits right in your pocket and it's not much of a problem. It's actually pretty nice. The design on its own, it's very nice. You don't have much of sharp surfaces all around in this position. We'll keep talking about when you open it up. Right here you have one of the tools that made the Charge and the Wave the valuable tool that it is, which is a blade that opens single-handed and has a liner lock over here. This one is made of S30V steel, which is excellent. It's a bit of a fancy steel for knives. Excellent steel, but a bit more expensive. In the Sidekick, they instead use H420. I think it is. It's not that great a steel, but it's still adequate for the role of this knife. The blade geometry is actually very clever, very well designed, which is a key point. Sometimes people ask me in my blog, what is the best steel? Or I recently got an email about someone asking me if it even matters, the blade geometry. I told him that it does. It's actually one of the most important things of the blade itself, the geometry. Even if you have an outstanding material, an outstanding steel, and an outstanding heat treatment as well, even if those are well done and excellent materials used, a poor design is going to be causing you problems. It's going to be causing the blade to break when you need it the most. So that's the excellent use of the space they had with this blade design. It's kind of a drop point design. This, by the way, is tip down carry. Okay, you would have this in your pocket like that, and it's with a tip down, which is okay by me. I think it's more practical given the size of this knife. On the other side, we have a saw, which is similar to the one in the Charge. So you see, guys, how you're getting some of the same things. Going back to the blade here for a second, how you get some of the same things we like so much of the Charge and Wave. You see that it is a bit shorter, and the steel isn't as great, but it's pretty close, you know. And we're talking about, I haven't mentioned this before, it's $32, give or take. You know, $32 versus a tool that costs $100. I think that's a huge difference. For me, I'd rather spend the money, but I understand that for some people they don't have much of an option. Maybe if you're thinking of a gift and you don't have the money for giving away a Charge, a Wave, maybe as a secondary tool that you want to be keeping in your vehicle, and again, you don't want to be spending the amount of money that a nice Charge TTI like this one costs, this is an excellent option. Again, I think the price range is the key, and picking the things that have been working for the Charge and the Wave. Look at, well, we saw the blade here. Look at the saw, which is the other single-handed opening blade we have, and again a liner lock. When you look at it and compare it to the saw of the Charge, you see this, guys? It's almost the same amount. You see that? It's basically the same amount of saw that you have in the Charge. Again, in a cheaper knife, in a cheaper multi-tool, and slightly smaller as well. Great job there, giving us similar capabilities at less than half the price. So, we talked about the blade. What about the pliers, which are very nicely done in the Wave and Charge? Here in the Sidekick, they've actually been improved, if you ask me, because these are spring-loaded, and this makes it more. It makes it easier to use when you're actually, putting pressure in a nut or removing one. It makes it much easier than instead having to do that manually, or if you're picking something that is a bit sticky. It makes tasks much easier. Again, see how they cut costs wherever they could. instead of putting the Leatherman engraving that I suppose uses a power, time, manpower as well, they just did without that. It wasn't necessary. Instead of having nice titanium, it's just stamped steel, as you see, and it's all good. I mean, you're not sacrificing functionality by saving in these. You don't have this crimping tool, which I only use once. I think it's more for an electric type of thing. Someone said something about being used for explosives. I mean, I can do without this, and I'd much rather have the flat area, okay, for grabbing better. So I actually like the Sidekick's pliers better. It's a bit more aggressive, you see, the way in which it's gonna be taking hold on stuff. It's gonna be better. You have more surface, a bit more aggressive. So this is actually an improvement from the Charge, and I wish they would add this sort of plier to the newer Charge and Waves. What about the type of nut you would be able to grab with each one? It's about the same. It's actually the same. It opens up to the same diameter. Okay, so you'd be able to grab pretty much the same type of nut size with either one. What about the cutting tool for cutting nails? Well, I read online that someone was complaining that it doesn't work. It actually does work, and it does work very well. It's actually better than in the Charge Wave models, which sort of overlap one over the other, and this is not how you want to be doing nail cutters or wire cutters. It's actually this way in which you want to do it, which is the way it has been done in the Sidekick. It actually does cut nails pretty well without a problem. Alright, I'm going to be showing that. In fact, give me a second. Just to prove it, you know, because someone may, you see, nail that already cut. You know, someone actually said that it doesn't work, that it doesn't cut stuff. It does. You know, you grab it, a bit of pressure, there it goes, cuts perfectly well, no problem at all. Of course, you're not going to be cutting a huge nail with this, but it still does it very well. It does it, in fact, better than the Charge Wave model, because this sort of setup, the overlapping setup you see here, this actually, it kind of gets caught in between. I don't know why they even did that. I mean, this is the typical pliers you see in this is the typical wire cutter you see in most tools. In most cutters you see this sort of setup, not the other one that overlaps. So again, this, in my opinion, and well, forget about it. It's not just my opinion. It's actually better. The plier is better here than in the Charge and Wave models. Let's keep looking at what we have. We have Lanyard, which I don't know why they even included that, because we have that option here as well. So again, this is something where they could have saved a bit of money. We have the can opener and bottle opener, which is a classic design, and this has been working very well for many years. So you don't fix what's not broken. Why mess with that when this is already a sound design? We have this sort of an emergency blade, which is like a sheepfoot type of blade over here, which is something that I like having. I like having an extra blade in my tool in case I don't want to get it messy, in case I'm doing something that I think may be breaking the blade as well. In those cases, I'd rather have a second blade as well. You never know when your main blade gets unsharpened, or when it's I mean, it breaks. You may need a bit more of an edge. So I always like having that extra blade when it's possible. What is this design? I mean, going back to the Charge once more, we have that and the Charge in a full-size blade. All right, and we're not getting it, but again, as good as possible within the price range, within the limitations of what they had to do with the Sidekick. It's still a very good job. It's not locking. This isn't gonna be locking for you like the tools do in in the charge and wave models, but you still close it, so your hand is actually protected some in case it just overlocks like that. Okay, you're not going to be cutting yourself. So again, saving money wherever they saw it possible without losing as many capabilities, and most of all keeping the ones they knew were the winners in the charge and the wave. Looking here, we have a file that this is one of the things that I don't like about this tool. This file is awful. It looks cheap, small, and I get it that you cannot have the kind of file you did get in the wave charge, which is this one, which is a diamond surface on one side and like a wood file on the other. This is an excellent file. I've used this a lot. It's got me out of tough spots, or saved me lots of time, or maybe even buying something else that I needed for fixing or getting a job done. This saved the day many times. This little thing, I don't see it quite doing it as much. I think it's nowhere near as good as this file. Maybe if possible, if they had the option of upgrading this some and putting a diamond file on one side like they did here, even if it's small, I would be happy with that. If they could put a diamond side here and improving this as possible. You have like a bit of a ruler here, but it's so short, it's just it's not even 2 inches or barely 2 inches, if that. Especially because of the shape, you see how it's not even. Okay, you do have like a flat screwdriver in this end, but because of this odd shape, it would have been much better to have something like you see in the charge wave where it's in the handles. You see how this would be much more practical. So even if it's that small, maybe they could have done something with these handles and provide a ruler here instead. That would have been much better in my opinion. Okay, looking what we have on the other side. The quality, guys, in general, as you handle the tool, you see that it is what you can come to expect from Leatherman. It's not letting you down. So you're paying for, you're paying in the price range of cheap stuff, give or take. For $32, you generally don't get the type of quality you're getting here. Flat screwdriver, large flat screwdriver, and you have the smaller one in the file, and you have the Phillips screwdriver as well. These are the tools you see in this side. Again, remember what I said about trying to get everything that they could from the charge and wave, which is what they saw that worked and what people liked. You see this, folks? You take a good look there. You see that? It's basically replicating the Phillips that came along with the wave and the charge. Okay, this one comes off. Okay, that's not the case here. This is fixed, but it's still the same shape. So whatever works with this, it's going to be working as well with the Sidekick. Any screw that gets undone with this one works with this one as well. And something that I like about this is that it's much longer. Sometimes it happened to me that this was too short to reach the screw I was going for. This one would work. This tool here would work where this one would not. So that's an improvement as well, in spite of losing the capability of the exchangeable bits. You use it, but not as often as you think. I have more of a problem with it being so short, rather than not having the perfect Phillips for it. So, guys, all things considered, by all means, I think it's an excellent tool. Okay, is it as good as the Charge CTI, which is the fanciest top-of-the-line model they have? No, definitely not. If I'm gonna still keep carrying my Charge and be happy with it, but I cannot say that you would be even less prepared and less ready with this tool, with the new Leatherman Sidekick. I think they've done it right. I think they got most of the nice things the Charge and Wave provides. I think they've succeeded in providing it here for 1/3 of the price of the Charge, or half the price of the Wave with a new Sidekick. So folks, excellent tool for yourself or for someone you may be keeping in mind. If you didn't get a Christmas gift and you want to leave a good impression, keep it in mind as well. Guys, gonna see you on our next video. Take care.